Before we dive into today's story, if this is your first time watching one of our videos, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring you even more powerful stories. Stick with us till the very end. And if this story moves you, share your thoughts in the comments and send it to a friend who needs to hear it. Now, let's begin. Selena Hart never imagined betrayal would come from her own blood. For as long as she could remember, she clung to the words her father often repeated when she was a little girl sitting cross-legged in their small family shop. "One day, Selena, you and your sister will take this business higher than your mother and I ever dreamed." Those words had been her fuel through college, her anchor whenever she doubted herself. When she finally graduated, she didn't chase high-paying jobs or glittering offers from bigger firms. She walked straight back into her parents' arms, thrilled when they offered her a role in the family company. The salary was nothing to brag about, but she didn't care. To her, loyalty mattered more than money. Her older sister, Camille, seemed to thrive in the business already. She had a shiny car parked out front and an elegant apartment uptown. Selena always assumed her sister's lifestyle was simply the result of seniority. She never questioned it, never thought there might be more behind Camille's success. That blind trust, she would later realize, was her biggest mistake. From the very beginning, Selena gave herself completely to the business. She arrived before dawn to help with shipments, stayed long after dark to finish reports, and showed up on weekends whenever there was even the smallest task to be done. Her father often patted her shoulder with a smile and said, "That's the spirit, my girl. Hard work never goes unnoticed." Her mother would add with a chuckle, "Yes, one day you'll thank us for this training." Selena believed them. She thought every sacrifice, every sleepless night, was an investment in her future. But then, one late afternoon, she passed the narrow hallway near the break room and froze at the sound of her sister's laughter. Camille's voice rang out over the phone, playful and smug. "Yeah, the transfer just came in. Can you believe it? Mom and Dad send money like it grows on trees. So much for struggling at work, right?" Selena's breath hitched. She pressed herself against the wall, her heart thudding. Transfer? What transfer? She tried to dismiss it as maybe a harmless bonus or allowance. Still, the way Camille spoke, dripping with arrogance, gnawed at Selena's chest long after she walked away. That evening, as the family gathered at the long dining table, Selena's nerves twisted into knots. She glanced at her mother cutting bread, at her father sipping soup, at Camille scrolling through her phone with that same smug smile she had overheard earlier. Selena cleared her throat. "Mom, Dad," she said softly at first, then stronger. "I overheard something today about payments. Are we supposed to be getting bonuses?" Her mother gave a short scoff and waved a hand like shooing away a fly. "Selena, don't be ridiculous. We're family. Family doesn't nickel and dime each other. We all contribute for the bigger picture. That's just how it works." Selena's brows furrowed. But if no one is paid, then how come, before she could finish, Camille's phone buzzed? With a sly grin, she tilted the screen toward Selena so she could see the fresh bank alert. A hefty deposit glowed on the screen. Camille leaned back and whispered just loud enough for everyone to hear, "Maybe you're just not worth paying." The words slammed into Selena like a blade. She felt her hands trembling under the table, her face burning, her chest tightening with a rage she barely contained. Selena didn't explode. She didn't scream or throw accusations, even though every cell in her body wanted to. Instead, she stood up slowly, her chair scraping against the tile, her face pale yet her eyes burning with something fierce. She walked away without a word, leaving her family exchanging puzzled glances. Upstairs, she sat on her bed, gripping her phone so tightly her knuckles turned white. How could they, after all her years of sacrifice, after giving everything she had, they had the audacity to treat her like a disposable servant? And Camille, her own sister, mocked her as if betrayal was a game. Selena lay back on the mattress, staring at the ceiling. Tears threatened to fall, but she swallowed them back. For the first time in her life, she realized she might never truly belong in the very business she thought was her destiny. She whispered into the silence, "Maybe I was never meant to stay." That night she didn't sleep. The sound of her mother's dismissive laugh and her sister's taunting voice looped endlessly in her mind until dawn broke. The next few days at the office felt suffocating. Selena moved through tasks on autopilot, but the spark was gone. She no longer felt the same joy in completing orders or balancing accounts. Each time she saw Camille flaunt her new clothes or flash her car keys, a knot twisted tighter in Selena's chest. One evening, while she stared blankly at the glowing computer screen, a whisper escaped her lips. "I can't keep doing this." The very next morning, she marched into her father's office with her heartbeat pounding in her ears. She laid an envelope on his desk. "This is my resignation," she said. Her father didn't even glance up from his computer. "Don't be dramatic, Selena," he muttered, clicking through spreadsheets. She steadied her voice. "I'm not being dramatic. I'm leaving." Only then did he lift his eyes, frowning. "Where will you even go? You have no other job, no plan." Selena inhaled deeply, her voice trembling but resolute. "I'll figure it out." She turned and walked out, not bothering to collect her belongings. The moment the office door closed behind her, she felt air rush into her lungs, sharp and freeing. For the first time in years, she wasn't chained to their shadow. Days turned into weeks, and Selena tried to keep herself busy sending out resumes, sitting in coffee shops with her laptop open, and scrolling through job postings late into the night. The silence from her family was deafening. No phone calls, no texts, not even a simple "Are you okay?" At first, the cold shoulder pierced her heart, but slowly she began to accept it. "If they don't care enough to check on me," she whispered into the darkness of her small apartment, "then why should I care about them?" One evening, as she stirred a cup of coffee, her phone buzzed with a message. It was from Marcus, an old colleague who had briefly worked for her parents before storming out in frustration. "Hey, I heard you left. Smart move. By the way, you might want to look at the company's books. Something shady is going on." Selena frowned, her chest tightening. "Shady how?" She texted back. His reply was brief. "Just check. Trust me." Her stomach flipped. Against her better judgment, she opened her laptop, used the login credentials her parents had never revoked, and began clicking through the company's records. What she saw made her skin crawl. Huge transfers, far larger than any salary, were being funneled out every month. Consulting fees, reimbursements, vague allowances, all under her name. Selena gasped. She had never seen a single cent of it. Following the trail, her hands trembling, she saw where the money ended. Camille's account. Her sister had been living her luxurious life with money stolen directly under Selena's name. Selena pushed away from her desk, pacing her small apartment in disbelief. Her breaths came quick and shallow. "They didn't just refuse to pay me," she whispered, clutching her chest. "They stole from me." Rage, nausea, and heartbreak battled inside her. For hours, she couldn't sit still, torn between confronting them immediately and collapsing into despair. She knew if she stormed into their house demanding answers, they would only laugh, twist her words, and make her look like the crazy one. So instead, she steadied her shaking hands, sat back down, and began taking screenshots of every single suspicious transaction. "If they want to play games," she muttered through clenched teeth, "then I'll play smarter." She saved each file onto an encrypted drive, even sending a backup copy to Marcus, just in case anything happened to her laptop. When she finished, she stared at the glowing screen. For the first time since leaving, she felt a flicker of strength. "I have proof," she whispered. That night, lying awake in the dark, she realized she had two choices. She could confront them face to face and risk being mocked again, or she could strike where it hurt most: their reputation, their business, their precious money. The thought made her pulse quicken. For years, they had made her feel worthless. But now she had the power. A plan slowly began forming in her mind. She closed her eyes and whispered into the quiet, "They'll never see it coming." The very next morning, Selina reached out to someone she trusted, an accountant named Victor who had once worked for her parents but quit after accusing them of shady practices. They met at a quiet cafe, tucked away from the bustling street. Victor raised his brow when Selina slid her laptop toward him. "You sure you want me to see this?" he asked. "Positive," Selina said firmly. He scrolled through the records, his eyes widening. "Selina, this isn't just unfair. This is fraud. They're moving money under your name without consent. And these personal expenses, they're using company funds for their own luxuries. That's embezzlement." Selina swallowed hard, her chest tight. "So I'm not imagining it." Victor shook his head. "No, with this you could take them down." His words sent a shiver through her, not of fear, but of newfound power. Later that evening, Selina met with a lawyer recommended by Victor. She spread her screenshots, bank records, and logs across the polished desk. The lawyer leaned back, eyes sharp. "You have a rock-solid case. If you sue, you'll recover your stolen money and possibly dismantle their entire company." Selina hesitated, her voice low. "They're my family." The lawyer's tone softened but stayed firm. "And they stole from you. You have every right to fight back." Selina closed her eyes, fists clenched under the table. "Then I'll fight." Still, before unleashing everything, Selina wanted to see if her family would admit the truth. One Saturday morning, she showed up at their house unannounced. Her mother barely looked up from her phone. Her father gave a stiff nod, and Camille smirked like nothing had happened. Selina sat down at the dining table, her expression calm, but her heart pounding. "So," she began, "I've been going through some financial records. Looks like I've been paid all along. Strange, right? Because I never saw any of it." The room froze. Her father's jaw tightened. Her mother shifted uncomfortably. Camille's eyes flicked up briefly before darting back to her phone. The silence confirmed everything Selina needed to know. She leaned forward, voice cutting like a blade. "Anyway, I thought I should mention it. I'm sure the authorities will find it interesting." Her mother's head snapped up. "Authorities? Selina, don't be ridiculous." Selina gave a cold smile. "Did I forget to mention? I've already spoken to a lawyer. Things are about to get very interesting." She stood, pushed her chair back, and walked toward the door. Camille's smirk was gone, replaced with panic. Her mother whispered, "Selina, wait." But Selina didn't turn back. The sound of the door clicking shut behind her felt like thunder rolling through the house. That night, Selina's phone buzzed again and again. Calls from her mother, her father, even Camille. She ignored them all. Then came the texts. "Mom, we need to talk. Don't do anything foolish. Dad, let's handle this like family. No need for drama. Camille, you're being over the top. It's not even a big deal." Selina stared at the glowing screen, her lip curling in a bitter laugh. Not a big deal? They had stolen years of her work, funneled her money into Camille's account, and treated her like free labor. And now they wanted to wave the family card. She turned her phone face down and whispered, "Too late for that." The next morning, she marched into her lawyer's office, her jaw set. "File the lawsuit," she said. The lawyer nodded. "With the evidence you've given me, this will move fast." In the days that followed, Selina reached out to former employees of her parents' company. Many had walked away after facing unpaid wages and shady treatment. One by one, they shared their stories. "They cheated me too," one man admitted. "I walked before they ruined me." A woman added, "I always suspected fraud, but I had no proof. You've got it now." Selina gathered their testimonies, realizing she wasn't the only victim. She wasn't just fighting for herself anymore. The storm broke faster than she expected. Within a week, the documents she uncovered somehow leaked onto a business watchdog website. Headlines exploded. Family company under fire for fraud and embezzlement. Clients withdrew contracts. Investors demanded answers. The reputation her parents had spent years polishing crumbled overnight. Selena sat by her apartment window, watching the news scroll across her phone screen. "This is only the beginning," she whispered. Camille's bank account, once fattened with stolen deposits, was frozen. Her flashy lifestyle screeched to a halt. The authorities moved quickly, sending auditors who uncovered more than even Selena expected. Hidden debts, unreported income, tax evasion, blatant misuse of company funds. Each day, another skeleton fell out of her parents' closet. The empire that once seemed untouchable was revealed to be hollow and rotten at its core. Then one night her phone rang. Camille's name flashed across the screen. Against her instincts, Selena answered. "Are you happy now?" Camille's voice cracked with fury. "You ruined everything." Selena almost laughed. "I ruined everything? You and Mom and Dad stole from me, mocked me, lied to me. And now you're angry because you finally got caught." Camille tried weakly. It wasn't stealing. They said you'd get it back eventually. Selena's jaw tightened. "You actually believe that? You chose to be just like them. Now you'll face the consequences." Camille hung up without a word. The weeks that followed were chaos for her parents. The company collapsed under the weight of lawsuits, fines, and lost business. One afternoon, Selena's lawyer called with a calm voice. "Their company won't survive this, but you'll recover every cent that was taken." Selena closed her eyes, breathing slowly. She should have felt triumphant, but what she felt was heavier, freedom. A few days later, her mother called, her voice hollow with sobs. "Selena, how could you do this to us? We've lost everything. The house, the business, your father drinks every night. We need you to come back. Please, we're family." Selena sat in silence, listening to her mother's weeping. Her father's voice boomed faintly in the background, full of anger. "Ungrateful brat. After everything we gave you, this is how you repay us." Selena laughed bitterly into the phone. "Everything you gave me? You stole my pay, funneled it into Camille's account, treated me like nothing, and now you want sympathy? No, you wrote this ending yourselves." She hung up, tossing the phone aside, her chest heaving. Tears pricked her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. In the months that followed, Selena rebuilt her life from scratch. She freelanced, taking small projects, working long hours, but every cent she earned belonged to her and her alone. No one stole her labor, no one mocked her effort. Slowly, she carved out her own reputation. When she cashed her first paycheck earned entirely by her hands, she pressed the slip to her chest and whispered through tears, "This is mine." She no longer defined herself by her family's shadow. No longer the free worker, no longer the forgotten daughter, no longer the unworthy child. She was Selena Hart, the woman who refused to be erased. One evening, she stood by her apartment window, city lights glowing outside. She thought of her parents, of Camille, of everything she had lost and gained. She felt no anger anymore, only distance. "You taught me to fight," she whispered into the night, "just not in the way you expected." And with that, she closed the window, shut out the noise, and finally let herself breathe. Her family's empire had turned to dust, but Selena had found something far greater: her freedom, her dignity, and herself. Months later, Selena walked past her parents' old office building on her way to meet a new client. The parking lot, once packed with cars, now sat empty, weeds sprouting through cracks in the pavement. A faded for sale sign leaned crookedly in the dirt. She didn't stop. She only glanced once before continuing on. A few blocks later, she drove past her childhood home. The laughter that once spilled from its windows was gone, replaced by silence and another sign hammered into the yard. Property auction next week. For a brief moment, memories tugged at her heart. The smell of her mother's cooking, her father's booming laugh, Camille's mischievous grin when they were little girls. But the memories twisted quickly into reminders of betrayal, deceit, and cruelty. Selena's grip tightened on the steering wheel. She whispered softly, almost like a prayer, "You chose this path. I chose mine." By the time she arrived at the cafe where her new client waited, her shoulders felt lighter. She smiled genuinely as she extended her hand in greeting. This was her life now. Her business, her rules, her freedom. The scandal of her family's downfall had become a whisper in the community, a cautionary tale of greed and arrogance. But Selena didn't care about whispers anymore. She cared about her work, her independence, and the future she was building one honest step at a time. As the city lights flickered on that evening, she sat by her apartment window with a cup of tea in hand and whispered to herself, "I survived. I'm free. And I will never let anyone take that away from me again." Like and subscribe to my channel for more contents like this, and let us know where you are watching from under the comment section.